Hello everybody, what is up? This is Kaylee Candy and welcome to How To Mondays. I guess I should say Digital How To Mondays. Today I'm going to be teaching you all how to work in Clip Studio Paint EX. This is the program that I use for my drawing, and it's a lot like Photoshop, except it has its own special features. Today I'm just going to be going over the basics, the basic tools and what they do, and also going over the tools that I use the most in my drawing. Let's click OK, and here we go. So this is my canvas, and this is where I would normally get to work. So I'm just going to be going over the basic tools for you guys. I'll start with the ones that I use the most when it comes to drawing. The first one that I am going to show you is the pencil. One thing, the pencil has many different presets that gives it different textures, gives it different densities, and different strokes. Down here you have preset sizes. You can also, like 12, 15, you can see the circle getting bigger. Let's pick a color, let's pick red. You've got an eyedrop tool when you come down here, so you're able to pick whatever color that you want. So 7 is that thick with a real pencil. If I go to 120, it's that thick. Normally, if you're on a Windows, hit Control-Z to undo the last thing that you did. On a Mac, you hit Command-Z. Sorry, I just hit the mic. Not only do you have pencils, like for example, this is a real pencil, design pencil. I'm going to put it on 70. So each of them, oh, that's kind of cool, has different textures to them. That's almost like an inking pencil. Yeah, that's really cool. Design pencil. I really like the designs and I just did that one, didn't I? Yes, I did. My bad. I like the designer pencil. Light pencil, that's more like an airbrush, depending on how big you make it. Nice. And then a rough pencil is what I normally do for my sketching phase whenever I'm doing an illustration. So normally what I would do for an illustration is I would pick either blue or red, use the eyedropper tool, and move this cursor around to pick the exact hue that you want, and then click around on the box to get the right color. Normally what I would do is I would start with a skeleton. So let's have just a profile. So say for example, I'm starting a skeleton. So it'd be blue. I usually use a rough pencil, and I'll just go right to work. And I'll set up just a simple structure of what the character probably looks like. I'm guessing this is probably a female character walking. Yeah, so normally that's how I would do my skeletons. So I normally use the rough pencil for that. And then once I'm done with the skeleton, I would go to either red or blue, the opposite of the other, and then I would actually go in with the skeleton in hand. It wouldn't be bare like this. And I would just start actually sketching out the face. And actually, considering I'm not going on anything, that's a really good face, thinking about it. Yeah. So that's the pencils. Pastels, you can use that for specific textures such as crayons and charcoal and stuff like that. The next brush I'm going to show you is the pen tool, and this is what I use for inking and coloring. So the inking tool, I normally use the G pen right here. It's a very slick and clean stroke. So real G pen, never use that one. Oh, this one's more textured. Okay, so this is a more textured pen. The other one was more slick. A calligraphy pen, which is nice. That's something that most drawing programs have. Effect line, so that just kind of, okay. And then texture, yep. I don't normally mess around with all of these pens. I normally just use the G pen. Marker, the fill-in mono pen, which is just like a fill-in pen. I actually don't think I've ever used markers for anything. Oh yeah, this is kind of cool. So it gets darker each time. Okay. That's mostly what I use the pen tool for. It's for inking and for the coloring process. The next one I'm going to show you actually is the eyedropper tool. It's really cool. So let's say, for example, you've got a red and you have a blue, and you want to get the blue onto the red, but you don't remember the exact color. Sorry about that. You don't get the exact color that you want. You can't remember it. So there's one of two things you can do. You can A, go into color history and pick it up there, or you can take the eyedropper tool, come over here and just click on it. And then it gives you the color back that you had before, and you're able to do that. The next one I'm going to use, bucket tool, is pretty self-explanatory. It just fills in whatever white space it can. Say, for example, if I were to make a circle that's enclosed like that, the bucket tool would just close that up. Very simple. It's something that every program has. Airbrush tool. This is really cool. The airbrush is what I use for beginning of shading. Okay, whatever. Go away. Airbrushing tool is what I normally use for the beginning of shading. And if you watched my speed paint of Lindsay, the very beginning skin shading that you saw before you got into the details, that was done with the airbrush. And it's just very simple light effects, and it can get darker depending. There's a soft, which is what I just showed you. There's a hard, which has a bit more precision to it. Shadow just keeps getting darker in one area. Highlight actually gets lighter on each area. And then these are cool. These are like little textures. So you have simple spray, and the tone scraping is just kind of more of a thick version of the spray. The running color spray I use a lot for dirt and for possible like blood splatters. Droplet I also use a lot for blood splatters because I just think it looks really cool. Okay. This is the decoration tool. This is basically just a bunch of presets of stickers, I like to call them. Stickers or stamps, I guess you could say. Like, for example, you've got sparkles, you've got, pick something, a caution tape, you've got lace, and you've got gold chains, and you have rocks. You've got a whole bunch of different presets. Butterfly, that's pretty. The reason I'm kind of shocked by all of this is because I'm working on my new Windows system. I was with a Mac for about 5 years, and the Clip Studio Paint, I think, was actually made for Windows and not Mac. It has an alternative to Mac, which I was able to use, but it didn't have as many presets like this as the Windows does. So if you're on a Windows system and you're willing to pay, how much? I believe Clip Studio Paint EX, and this is the fullest that the version, or the fullest that the program can go. I think it runs for around $200. Clip Studio Paint Pro, which is like one scale down from this, it goes on sale quite a bit. One time I saw it on sale for $20. So if you guys have anywhere between $20 to $60, I'd say, on your hands, then this is definitely a program you might want to have. I'm having way too much fun with these presets right now. Okay, I'm just gonna leave. Oh wait, and then of course the all famous, where is it? The good old bloodstain one. I just think this is cool because it looks like ink. Now, one thing that's cool about certain presets on these is that the bigger the brush size, you notice that the droplets stay the same. But if I go down here, there's particle size. I can make the splatters as big as I want, or I can make them as tiny as I want. You can't even see that. There you go. You can make them small, or you could just make them absolutely huge. Which, up close, you can see the real texture that goes into it, which is kind of cool. The eraser, everyone knows what that is. Not even going to go over that one. The blending tool. This one is interesting, and I do use it a lot when it comes to skin and hair shading. So, for example, let's say this one person has this type of toned hair, and it goes from that color to a purple. Why is this the opacity? Oh, the opacity is not all the way up. I'm an idiot. Another thing you should know, the opacity of the brushes can be changed. Depends on how it makes the pen either extremely opaque or very transparent. So anyway, back to the blending tool. So this tool, say I have hair that goes from blue to purple, and I want it to blend together, like it's a gradient. Someone dyed their hair. I can take each of these tools right here and use them. For example, the fingertip basically is a smudge tool. It can smudge things around. Case in point, like this. And if you notice, I can manipulate the strokes of the brush and make it look really wavy. I usually use this to make fire or to make hair strands. Normally I use it for fire, which is really helpful. So for the blur, we're making hair, my bad. So the blend tool, pretty much self-explanatory. It blends in the colors together. And if you notice, it created kind of a purple color because it's blending the two colors together. The blur tool just kind of smooths it out and make it not look as in your face of the specific strokes. So that's the blur. Fingertip, you can use that to add a bit more line in here to make it look a bit more hair-like. And there you go, you got a gradient. So the blending tools, if you're trying to do realistic especially, it's very helpful. Another way you could do the hair is if you do the gradient. Now, this is the way I normally do it because it's the easiest. So let's say I have, let's just do this. Let's say I have this strand of hair and I want it to be purple down here. So what I will do, I will come over here to the layer, normal layer, layer 1. Right click, selection from layer, create selection. After that, I will make a new layer and I will go down here to gradient. I will go up here. There are lots of different gradients you can try. Foreground to transparent is what I'm going to be using. And I just click on the purple that I used before. So on this layer, it's going to go from opaque color to transparent to nothing. So it creates the effect that the hair has a gradient. And what's cool too is that this is a little added. If you make another layer and put it in between the base color and the gradient, and say you put a dark blue and you start shading the hair, it will start even showing up in the gradient because some of the gradient is transparent, which is really cool. So that's that. I believe those are the basic tools that I use for drawing. Simple selection tool, you just simply select something that's on the screen, and with that you can crop or move it or whatever you want to do. The text tool, that's pretty self-explanatory. You can use it to type things because duh. Since this program is meant to be used for comic book making, so of course it comes with a text option. Trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think there is. Of course, there's the magic select tool. That's something that a lot of programs related to Photoshop have. Basically, you can just that's why it's not doing it. Make a circle. It'll select whatever you touch. So, yeah, that's pretty simple. Yeah, I believe that is everything. So, today we went over all of the tools that I personally use for drawing and what they do, what they're called, and the best ways to use them. But anyways, hope you guys all enjoyed, and I will see you next Friday on Speed Paint Fridays. Bye!